introduce the two panelists for the second hour at 11:30. We have Joy Jepson from Boeing, and Joy took her Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, and she also has her Master of Science degree in Computer Systems Management. She is currently Director for Boeing Employee Portal Program. And welcome, Joy, and thank you for taking time to be here. Mr. K is also going to be speaking during this second hour. Wister has worked a lot with different companies in terms of the technology areas. She was formerly with Washington Software Alliance, and she's worked with the Governor's Office in Washington State in terms of international technologies and programs. Christine Rhodes is going to be speaking during this first hour, and she is currently, she has her bachelor's degree in business, and she's currently the director for higher education accounts with Microsoft. And we also have Elizabeth Lund. Elizabeth is also with Boeing. She's the director of Interiors Responsibility at Fabrication Division at the Boeing Everett site. She has her Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering as well, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, and her bachelor's degree in the same area. Okay. So Elizabeth's going to come up first and speak with you. Thank you for your attention and your patience.
Okay, can you guys hear me? All right, good. And it's better now that they don't have the different picture from the other room up here, right? It was fascinating. Okay, so I am Elizabeth Lund. I work with the Boeing Company, and I didn't bring any presentation today. We were just joking up here. At Boeing, everywhere you go, you have a presentation. It doesn't matter what you talk about. And so whenever I get away from Boeing and I can kind of revolt, I do that. So no death by viewfoil, although you guys will probably wish that I had one. So I'll try to be brief. So I'll talk to you just a little bit about my background, how I made the choices that I made, and see if you guys can glean anything from this. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Tulsa. I was born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ended up going to school, small, private, liberal arts college in Oklahoma. And when I started, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that. But it's a funny thing. I can even tell you now, after 15 years in the industry, I still don't know that I know exactly what I want to do. But the message is, it's okay. You don't have to. So when I started to make my career decisions, I just started to think about what it is I enjoy. Went to college, took some classes, fundamentally really liked math science classes. So I thought, well, I kind of like the classes, ought to pick a degree where I can do more of it. The ones that took just hours of reading every night, right, and the highlighting wasn't going to be for me. So I really liked problem solving. I liked math science. Thought, why not try engineering? So I did, got a bachelor's degree, but I will tell you that I did know that design engineering and real detail-oriented design probably wasn't going to be the thing I wanted to do with my life. Made it through the classes. It was fine. Decent grade point average, but not really what I loved. But nonetheless, one of the reasons I chose engineering is it seemed really versatile. And I don't know how much of the paper you guys have read in the last maybe 5-10 years. During the tech boom, the #1 degree that people in Wall Street were hiring were engineering degrees. And so I just kind of thought about it even, 15 years ago and thought, well, seems really versatile. I can do management, I can do engineering, I can do program management, I could do finance stuff, so I'll just start with engineering. So now the place where my decisions get a little fuzzy, and I'll just admit that, is right after college, I got married. Moved to Missouri with my husband, who entered medical school. So we were in Columbia, Missouri, not a lot of industry there, not sure what to do. So neat thing about an engineering degree is I got a full ride scholarship to get a master's degree, and then I got a teaching assistantship. And so I decided to go get my master's degree in mechanical engineering. One would question, okay, I can see a bachelor's degree if you don't really want to be an engineer, but why'd you go get a master's degree if you don't want to be an engineer? Good question, but it still worked. Still liked the classes, liked math and science, went and did it. Learned a couple things. Loved teaching, really loved people, learned a lot about some program management skills along the way. So I picked up a master's degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering and got what I think has really served me well as a really strong technical background. So after that, I went to work at a place called Cheeseboro Ponds, which manufactures personal products in Missouri. And they manufacture Vaseline intensive care lotion, Q-Tex polish removers, Q-tips, and Mentadent toothpaste. Long way from aerospace. Took a job as a process engineer, sort of a chemical engineering based. Had no background for it. So sort of my lesson there learned, if I could transfer it to you guys, is be really open in your options. It really wasn't anything I would have ever thought that it was what I wanted to do. Absolutely turned out to be a dream job. Just a dream job. Learned a ton about work ethic, staying just really open to opportunities. Learned a ton about manufacturing. Learned a ton about engineering. And as it progressed, I was there a couple of years, got a couple promotions, and then Mentadent toothpaste that I mentioned, you guys know what Mentadent toothpaste is? The big container? Just coming on the market, brand new product. And they said, hey, do you want to go design this new product? I said, I'd love to. Learned about facilities engineering, built a new building, learned about process engineering, built the tank lines, the manufacturing lines. And then they came and they said, hey, this is pretty cool, and you have a lot of opinions, although not a lot of facts, and would you like to run the department? And I said, you know, that'd be great. So I got a chance to start this department up from scratch, to staff it, to talk about the quality inspection process, the manufacturing processes. So it's sort of the next lesson learned is don't be afraid to just step out and take a huge leap. And then just listen, and learn all you can and dive into it. Great opportunity. There for a couple years. My husband finished med school. We ended up moving back to Washington, so I went to work for Boeing. Completely different career again. Started as a payloads engineer, which is interiors. Did that for 3 or 4 years, moved around to different areas of Boeing. Went into management after about 4 or 5 years, after I had a couple of babies, which was, Boeing's a great, it's just a great company. Boeing's a great company because you can do anything you want to do fundamentally at Boeing. They hire so many different skills and there are so many opportunities. So I had my daughters, went into management after 4 or 5 years because I decided what I really liked was working with people. So then I sort of moved around. I became a manager within the payload systems, which is the interior systems. Had several jobs, ultimately became the chief engineer for the 37 and 57 interiors, which I absolutely loved. Then I became the deputy chief project engineer for the overall airplane for the 737 for a couple of years. Again, following those same premises. If it's really fun and you work with great people and you have an opportunity to learn and challenge and contribute, just take it. So I did this job and really loved it. So spent the vast majority of my career in an engineering field, but not doing design engineering. So that's, I guess it goes back to my initial message, which is just because you have a degree in a finance or in engineering doesn't mean it's all you have to do. It really can be a stepping stone to do a lot of other things. About a year and a half ago now, I decided that I was going to leave engineering and became the director of business operations for what we call the Fab division. Fab division in Boeing is where we make all of the internal components that go in airplanes, all the internal suppliers. Machined parts, sheet metal parts, composite parts, interior parts, electrical parts, everything. So in that role, I really developed the strategies and the business plans for the total fabrication division as the director of business operations. Completely new role, never did anything like it. One of the best experiences of my life. Spent about 6 months there, and then I moved into the job I have now, which is the director of the Interior Responsibility Center, where we design and build all of the products that go on the interiors of commercial airplanes. So not the seats, but the closets and the sidewalls and the ceilings and the stowage bins and the carpets and the stowages, all the things that you think of that you might have seen as you fly on an airplane. We design and build all of those for all of the traditional Boeing airplanes. Really great job. It's the chance to run my own little business unit. I have a finance team. I have all of manufacturing, all of the supply chain people who interface with all of our suppliers and move our parts around, engineering, human resources, the whole business. And so now I've moved into kind of a job like that, all from an engineering background. As we move forward in the Interior Responsibility Center, we've also been named the interior supplier for the 7E7. So now I get to work on the new programs. We're really working on doing really cool strategic things like defining the passenger experience and redefining it for flight for the future on the 7E7.